Good morning, everybody. And if you're just joining us, welcome to the PMO Leader 5th Anniversary Conference this year. And we are very excited to have you on board with us. Please let us know in the chat where you're joining us from. Today, my name is Cleopatra Mseka Abi, and I'm the global lead for the conference this year. And I'm very excited to introduce our PMO experts all the way from Romania. Her name is Christina Niculescu. And she has a very exciting topic to us today about the Chameleon PMO. We have all heard about the typical PMO that is supportive PMO, directive PMO, controlling. So what is the Chameleon PMO? I'm sure this is going to be a very interesting session to learn about what it is and how can we become one and why should we aspire to be one. So I'm going to hand over to Christina shortly to introduce herself. But first, just a few housekeeping things. Thank you to our sponsors, Planners Way, Fluid Triskel, Planview Sensei, Mate, PMO Squad, and AMO for making this event possible. For all of us, you can interact with our sponsors during the break sessions. They have booths, so please reach out to them. As we start the session, you're welcome to share your questions. Next to the chat box, you will see there's also a Q&A button. You can take advantage of the Q&A, or you can drop your questions in the chat, and Christina will respond to your questions at the end of the session. So a very big welcome, Christina, and over to you.
Thank you so much, Cleo. I'm very happy to be here, and thank you for the invitation. I hope you can see my screen. Everything is okay.
Everything's good.
Perfect. Thank you. So the presentation that I will share today, it's about a model called the Chameleon PMO, speaking actually about hybrid portfolios and how they can survive in a disruptive world. A few words about me first. I'm Christina Niculescu, located in Romania and in Bucharest. I'm a digital consultant and a former PMO director. 20 years in IT, in telecom and banking areas mainly, leading engineering teams, and over 5 years in leading PMO strategy and building adaptive delivery frameworks. I like to say that I bring to the table a blend of project management professional certification, the technical delivery expertise, but also foundation in organization psychology. It's a topic that I like very much and combined IT with psychology. That was quite an interesting activity for me. Now I am the founder of Innovatio and Digital Consulting, helping organizations to increase their operational efficiency and have predictability on the running projects. In the following minutes, we will discuss about the current context where the PMOs and organizations run their activities. Then I'll present the Chameleon PMO model. And finally, we will have a moment of reflection, thinking what should we change in the PMO or in our teams starting from tomorrow. About the context. First, I will put a couple of questions and I will invite you to reflect upon them. You do not need to have an answer right away, just think about them. Is your PMO seen as a strategic enabler or just an overhead function? The second question, everybody asks to prove that your PMO brings value. So, let's explore together how we can increase our PMO's influence and value in the organization. More specifically, why hybrid portfolios are now the reality, how the PMO can adapt through a Chameleon model, some practical suggestions, some example of metrics, and some use cases that you can take back home. Disruptive environment. Speaking about the context, our PMOs and organizations are facing a disruptive environment. And because of this, the one-size governance does not work anymore. So here I put some challenges. First of all, the hybrid and remote teams. We have teams that are working, let's say, from the same town, but some of them are coming at the office, some of them are working from home, or even at this moment, all the companies are international. They are having global teams. So we are having teams from following the sun, starting from US, from Europe, or from Asia. Another challenge, stakeholders demand faster time to market. Also, you heard the recurring refrain, doing more with less. Now, speaking about our projects and portfolios, their complexity is increasing. And last but not least, the crisis is the new normal. Oh my God, what is happening? Let's see what types of PMOs we encounter. First of all, it's the PMO version 1.0, which create templates, make reports, verify that the projects are compliant from various aspects. This is a control office, version 1. Version 2.0 is the enabling PMO, meaning that on top of the templates and reports and the compliance audits, we come building up methodologies. We offer delivery support. We make coaching and trainings. But still, in this disruptive and chaotic world, this is not enough. We need the Chameleon PMO version 3.0, which is strategic, adaptive, value-driven. And I know there are some organizations that are already making this shift in order from 1.0 or 2.0 to 3.0 to be competitive on the market, but also to face the challenges that I mentioned before. And I was wondering now, let's see, we created a poll for you, a survey, and let's see what version of PMO are you encountering in your actual organization. So Cleo, if you can help me publishing the poll. And you are going to have 30 seconds for giving your answer. Point 1, 2, or 3. Fifteen seconds. And yeah, let's see the data. How can we see the data at this moment? Cleo, maybe you can help me if how can I see the data?
It should be showing on the screen, but we have control office 8%, delivery enabler 80%, and strategic Chameleon 11.5%.
Oh, that's quite interesting. Actually, I was imagining that most of the PMOs are on version 2.0, but I'm so glad that are also from 3.0, the Chameleon PMO, 11%, 11.5. That's very, very, very good. I'm so glad. Thank you. Thank you for your input and the information. So what is the Chameleon PMO, actually? Here it is. A Chameleon PMO adapts its governance and processes and leadership style to fit the delivery models, but without losing sight of the strategy and value. It doesn't impose a way of working. It creates an ecosystem where multiple ways of working can go together, but also aligned to the strategy of the company. So how it is working? So as I was saying, it recognized the need for various delivery. So we are having agile, waterfall, or safe, or why not all together, and gives the delivery teams the option to choose the most appropriate approach for the specific projects. This is one color. Another color acts as an advisor, not a controller. So being the PMO becomes a go-to department. If I'm having some issues with my customer or my teams, then I go to the PMO team and ask for advice. It builds trust and psychological safety, because in order for me to be open and to go to the PMO team and to make me vulnerable, then I need to have the trust in the PMO team. Very important, and it's an aspect that I will remind during all my presentation. It's creating the templates and metrics and the KPIs, co-creating them together with the stakeholders. So not I'm just, as a PMO team, I'm just pushing my templates to the departments, but talking to them and understand what template and reports are bringing value to them. This way, we enable collaboration across various silos, creating the dashboards and offering the data and transparency to everybody. We should not forget about making some reviews, and my suggestion is to make a quarterly review for having feedback from our stakeholders. And all-in-one offers a model that has the people-centered focus. We have the directions, the various colors of the Chameleon, but let's see how the Chameleon can adapt. And here is the playbook that contains 6 practices. First of them, from those 6 practices, the adaptive governance. As I mentioned, we need to be light for the agile teams or for small projects. We should not burden them with complicated templates, with complicated reports. We need to be agile, but also structured for the regulatory projects or the projects with high risks. Value-driven metrics, focusing on the outcome versus the output. From my experience, this is a difficult topic, though it's very important and should be, as I was saying, co-created with the various stakeholders in your company. In this way, you verify what is the outcome of and your stakeholders' needs. Portfolio agility. Again, a tough one, because as I'm saying there in brackets, it's continuous reprioritization. But we need to do this because our teams are reprioritizing all the tasks and the projects every time something it's coming on top of the plan. So also from the PMO point of view, we need to adapt and make this continuous reprioritization. Another practice. All this information needs to be pulled from various tools that we are having in our company. But most important is to make a harmonization of those tools. We need to create dashboards, taking from Jira, for example, from Microsoft Project or from SAP or from Salesforce, and bring them in a dashboard, having the same language for everybody. Actually, at this moment, I'm having a project with one of my clients. They are having the SAP for all the financial reports, the CRM for the sales, and in the terms of project delivery, they are having the Azure DevOps. So what we are doing now, we are aligning all those three tools in order to create a common dashboard that is easily to be followed and to see the project from all as a flow, starting from financial to the customer and also to the project delivery. Improved risk management. Having all those data, it's better to continuous verifying all this data from those mentioned tools and have a real-time risk sensing and response in order to detect early signs of failure. And also putting these risks on the tables and creating a culture of risk transparency. It's better not to hide them, the risks, but to put them on the table, discuss for everybody to be aware and try to find some mitigation plans for those risks. The sixth point is enhanced collaboration. As I was saying, always you need to discuss with the stakeholders. Always you need to discuss with various departments and put on the table, make visible and transparent all the information that we are having. Okay, we have the playbook, we have the directions, but where shall we start? What would be the first steps to be done in order to get to this Chameleon PMO, to this hybrid portfolio PMO? First of all, conduct an assessment. We have a sense of feeling. We know where we are standing now, but it's better to make a formal assessment. Then we need to establish our objectives, assess the necessary tools, and especially the skills. Why we need the skills? Because all these changing, all these objectives, new objectives, discussing with all the stakeholders, need some other type of people in your team, in the PMO team. Then we need to develop a roadmap. And before starting the projects, we need to take the approval. And we need to take the approval not in terms only of money, but also in terms of having the management support. It's a project, it's a transformation project that takes quite a long time, and we need the management support in this transformation journey. I put there some best practices. Incorporate the feedback loops, discuss with everybody, discuss with important informal stakeholders, take feedback from them, adjust our plans, your plans. Collaborate with others, avoid working alone because it's a lot of pressure on your shoulders. And also you can have some other perspectives from people that you share the plans and the roadmap that you are thinking about. Very important is taking the initiative and lead the change and have a lot of patience. Why not celebrate small wins? It's very important for us because it's a very complicated transformation project. We need any kind of win to be celebrated. It is a difficult journey. What challenges we have? Hybrid portfolio sounds very good in theory, but the reality, as you imagine, is quite tough. And I put here, 70% of the transformation projects fail due to the lack of adaptability, those feedback loops that I was talking about. And here are some challenges you can bump up on the road. Complexity of managing all the deliverables, because if we want templates also for Agile, but also for Waterfall or for Safe, you need to manage all this and it can become a burden. Conflicts between the mindsets, because we are having agile practitioners and they are saying that's the road, and also the traditional mindsets. Making those change requests in the process, because as I was saying, this is a living system, it's a living process. So any change we need to carefully manage it. Prioritization conflicts, of course, because we are having competing initiatives. Just a second, sorry, I will take a sip of water. Thank you. Another challenge is you need to be flexible, but also you cannot lose the structure and the control. Measurement that sometimes will be focused mainly on the activity instead of the value of the measurement. And last but not least, is stakeholders that are drowning in multiple reporting formats or budget approvals. So they sometimes become very tired, and they are not longer anymore on board with us. We need to catch all these challenges on the road, correct them by implementing feedback loops and adapting continuously, and having, as I was saying, a lot of patience and drive. I will come with an example, with a use case, that a real example that I faced some years back at one of my clients. It's a telecom operator. And what were the challenges? They were working in silos. So there were departments, a department was working in Agile, a department was traditional in Waterfall, another department was trying the Spotify model. And what was the problem is that they do not talk one to each other. They are having competing priorities, no alignment to the company objectives, and most of them, the most important challenge was that were no metrics measured. So everybody was a small state in a very big organization. What we have done, and I put there, it was a project that after 12 months, we've seen some light in all this situation. There was a dedicated governance team, and we worked together. At this point, I entered them and helped them in order to create their processes and flows. And the governance team, they started to discuss with all those departments. They start to align because there were some dotted lines between the departments. So the governance team put on the table what are the links between all the departments, also sharing knowledge from one department to the other. They start co-creating the processes, the flows, the metrics, and they started gathering the data and putting the data on specific dashboards. Again, it took 12 months to have some kind of a light in this project. But what was important was the management support, and also the openness of the team. Everybody was eager to align all the processes, to discuss and to offer a lot of information. Speaking about the governance team, it was very important that in the components of the team, there were business person who know very well what was happening in each of the department. So this was another very good point. What happened? After 12 months, we've seen an increased customer satisfaction, and we are speaking also about the internal customers, but also about the external customers. The external customers were saying that you have more clear information to us. We have transparency of where the projects are standing. So they've seen modification in the approach. And also it was implemented this continuous improvement process, because talking to each other and looking and evaluating the process, we found changes and adapt all the processes during time. It was quite an interesting challenge for everybody. And I was very, very glad, because I was an external person, an external consultant, but I was glad that somehow we align all the ideas, and there were some kind of processes and engagement from every team that was involved in this project. Let's see about metrics. We discussed about the KPIs and the metrics, and these matter because at this moment, as you can imagine, data is the new power. So in order to make relevant analysis and take proper decisions, your PMO need to create metrics that are relevant for the company and for each department that is delivering projects. Customer satisfaction. Everywhere, with every client that I'm discussing, I'm advising them, suggesting them to make those surveys, and the surveys to be done with a certain frequency. An example can be at the end of each project, or if the project is too long and too complex, then I advise them to take at least twice a year this kind of survey. And of course, interpret the data, not just make the survey and put it on the shelf. Another metric would be the financial performance, of course. Doing less with doing more with less. Calculating the return of investment or the profitability of the project. Calculating the budget variance. Resource utilization, another metric that is advisable to have it. The risk mitigation effectiveness. We should calculate the risks, velocity, verify the risk with various frequency. So looking a lot of time constantly on the risk, and also about the mitigation plans. Last but not least, the effectiveness of the process. As I was saying, if we are having a process, the flow, every time I make a quarterly review on the process, not only on the PMO team, but also with relevant stakeholders, and understand what is going well, celebrate what is going well, and adapt if there are some changes to be done. I was reading an article speaking about metrics. What is important, if you adapt your data and reports to the stakeholder needs, this is how they see that the PMO brings value to them. Thinking about the question that I put in the beginning of the presentation. We must not forget about AI. AI is our new colleague. How it can help. Imagine a scenario where you can analyze the past data on your project, analyze the risks, the risk mitigation plan, not speaking about the customer satisfaction, all the metrics that I mentioned before. All these data can help you even predict from the beginning of a project how successful it will be. It sounds like science fiction, but yes, if we have relevant data and some good analysis of the data, then we can make this type of prediction. Also, having the AI at hand, then we can create dashboards and analyze this data. If you don't have at this moment this data, start creating historical data. And in 12 months, we can analyze and see how we are standing. We shouldn't forget always when I'm speaking about AI, yeah, indeed, it's our colleague. They can help us, but they must not replace our judgment, because we need to filter all this data, and based on our judgment, our human judgment, we can take strategic decision-making directions. And also, do not forget about the sensitive data. Talk to your security department and see what type of tools we can use. There are a lot, millions of tools that help us, but we need to be aware what kind of data we are exposing in the internet. Yeah, they are saying that they are very secured, but still be cautious about this. So, as a summary, how a future-ready PMO should look like. Should be transparent, supportive for the leadership, responsive to change, but also keeping the control. Have the AI next to you. Create as much automation as possible. Integrate tools to have a harmonization between the tools that we are having in the company. Basically, be agile and adaptive. I put that in brackets, but I think it's a very, very important aspect to take care of. Your team cannot longer have the same skills. I was telling that before. We need somehow to change because the Chameleon PMO, as I was saying, needs to talk to stakeholders, need to analyze data. There are specific skills that needs to be brought in your team. So maybe you need some trainings for your team. Maybe you need some technical guys in your team or some analyst engineers. So also this aspect needs to be taken care of. So I'm getting to the end of my presentation. I imagine I touched only the surface, but hoping that I give you some food for thought. So what would be the call to action? As I was saying, we have the reflection moment at this moment, at the end of the presentation. So how to be the chameleon? We need to adapt, we need to measure value, and be transparent. These are the three main aspects that I consider that the mindset needs to be changed and focus on these three aspects. So maybe you can start an assessment and discover where does your PMO stand today. It's a controller, an enable, or a strategic one, a chameleon. And another question, and here again, I put to the first question next to the first two questions from the beginning. If you had to change one PMO process tomorrow in order to be more flexible and raise value, what that process would be? Thank you. I'm Cristina Niculescu, and thank you for joining to this session. Cleo?
Thank you, Christina. That was
incredible.
I think for me, two things stuck out. One was the statistic you put up there that 70% of transformation projects fail due to the lack of adaptability. That is actually refreshing because I think we all know the statistic that normally says the failure of 70 or 75% is due to communication and stakeholder issues. So bringing the adaptability element is actually quite interesting and quite relevant because we are talking about being future ready where we have foreseen and unforeseen changes. So how adaptable is your PMO going to be? And I think you touched quite a bit on co-creation and the importance of that when it comes to the metrics and also your processes. So that's quite profound, I think, in terms of leading our PMOs to be in a place where they really drive value. So thank you.
Thank you too.
take some questions from the audience because we do have a little bit of time. There's a question from Mo. Is the Chameleon model a blend of control and a delivery enabler? Is it a blend?
I wouldn't say. I think from my perspective, we are building on top of it. So we are starting from with the templates. Then we are offering some kind of creating methodology, advising, coaching, training. Then on top of this, we need to be a mature PMO in order to get to the version 3, the Chameleon PMO. So I will say it builds on each level in order to get to 3.0.
Perfect. You also spoke about the harmonization of tools, and there's a question on whether you would recommend having one source of information across the organization or the function, or could it be a unified, let's say, CRM or one unified tool within a function?
Ideally, yeah, it will be one tool, but the reality is that we never have, because usually companies, they are having also already a CRM, they are having a Salesforce, all kind of tools and they are paying money to all this. So it will not be business wise, let's say, to replace all those. But what can be done at this moment? There are a lot of automation tools, and also, for example, from Microsoft, there is Power Query, Power BI, and we can easily extract information from all these tools and have a common dashboard with the same language for everybody.
And when we talk about shifting from PMO to VMO, Value Management Office, would you say the Chameleon PMO is a VMO?
Yes, we can say that. But having all those acronyms, maybe we should somehow lighten up our life, because the life is very dynamic and challenging. Maybe having the Chameleon idea, it's a nicer way to see life, the chaotic and dynamic life that we are living. So yeah, it's the same, the value driven PMO.
Wonderful. And we have one last question. As we're talking about hybrid portfolios and hybrid environments, these demand variation of skills and teams to be prepared to really adapt to their situation. So do you think this is a contributing issue to the 70% failure rate?
That's a very good question. I need to think a little bit about that. It may be. It brings, yeah, indeed, because if you do not realize, as a PMO leader, you do not realize that you need some kind of a technical skills and data analyst, then yeah, you somehow are in the position that you cannot deliver the transparency. You cannot measure those metrics. You cannot fulfill your objectives unless you have the proper skills. So yeah, I think it's a very good question, and indeed it contributes to that 70%.
So just leading on to that topic, what would you suggest organizations can do to really grow the skills at the end of their teams to be more adaptable?
First of all, it's having a growing mindset. I mean, that's the most important. Everything, all the tools can be learned. You can make a training or whatever. But if you do not have that growing mindset, because it's a tough decision, it's a transformation. It's not only a transformation project, but it's a transformation of our mindsets. So if you do not have that growing mindset, and you still look behind and say, okay, this is not working, and life is tough, and so on, we will not make steps. So only if we change our mindset and think about solutions and work together and co-creation and so on, then this is why I say it's a very, very important mind shift that we need to work upon.
Okay, wonderful. This has certainly been very, very engaging. Thank you, Christina, for the insights.
Thank you
yeah,
too.
I think it's a call for all of us to, take the next steps to be more like a chameleon. Thank you for joining this session. Please visit our sponsor booths during the break and see you in the next session. Thank you.
Thank you too.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.